Okay, welcome to week 3, and this is your discussion. We'll talk about that first. In Illustrator, as in any creative director endeavor, community and connection to a larger creative network is vital. You can learn from the wisdom of others and in turn you can be inspired others with your ideas. This week's discussion is all about learning from the internet-wide creative community. So they've offered you the website, the great DES content, and you're going to click on interviews at the top of the page when you go there, and then you'll click show all. You'll get a drop-down list, and you can select an artist from there. You'll see all of the featured artists listed below. There's many of them. I've been in there. I've done this. I'll show you mine in a minute. You'll pick one illustrator. Look through them if you want. They don't actually show you their work. They show you the illustrator. So you might want to look at a couple of them before you actually pick one that you like. And I did this. I did that. I went to 2 or 3 of them and I found one that I really liked. And I go into why I liked it in my discussion. So you'll do the same thing. And you'll read the interview. And after it, you'll write a paragraph which will entail 8 to 10 sentences, and you'll profile highlights you've learned from your chosen illustrator. You know, what is their work philosophy? How do they stay creative? What is your favorite quote from the interview, etc. One of the things that you'll do is you'll snap a screenshot of the work and submit it as an attachment. Now, you guys have been doing similar things to this, so I think you pretty much know how to do it. But just so that I can feel confident that I did do it, I'll show you. You go to Account, you click on Account, and you go down to where it says Files. And you click on Files, and you'll come up with this panel right here. Now you can see I've loaded, these are some of the JPEGs that I've uploaded to mine. Okay, and you just click on upload, and what happens is you get a search window. You can go and search for an image. I'm not going to actually upload one, but like say for instance I wanted to do that, I would click on what it is I want, hit open, and then it would automatically come in here, and that's what you would ultimately be doing. Okay, see, and I've used a lot of my space here. So that's basically it. What you're going to do is you're going to load in an image. Now, this is mine down here, okay? And I've written about this person, Enrique Barrios, and you can read what I've written. That's my picture right there. This is my link to that particular interview about him, about Enrique. And what I would like you all to do is I would like you all to consider me as one of the students. When you go in and you do your discussions, this will be your last discussion, so let's make this one a good one. This will be your last discussion. Use me as one of the students. You can critique my discussion as well. That will give you something to talk to other students about, because there's only 2 of you. All right. So ultimately what you're going to do is by Wednesday, you're going to do this. You're going to do your discussion by Wednesday, hopefully, so that you're on time. And then you're going to do at least 2 different replies, and try to do it on different days if you can. If you absolutely can't, fine. As long as you have 2 replies, and make them substantial replies. Don't just say something like nice artwork. I shouldn't have to tell you all this because we're in a 300 level class, and you kind of done this before, and pretty much you both have been doing okay with this. So, but just keep in mind that, you know, I'm here, I put mine in, you can critique what I have to say as well. Think of me as just another student. All right. So that's your discussion for the week. Next week is the final week. We will not have discussion. So this is it. Make it a good one. All right. Now we'll move on to the assignment. The assignment this week is we're going to create DVD cover designs. Okay. For this assignment, you will design a DVD package using only Illustrator techniques. I am going to show you 2 designs that I came up with. The point being, it's amazing what you can do with Adobe Illustrator if you really try. That's the whole point. I'm not saying that mine are the best in the world, but you can see both of mine are pretty elaborate, what I've done with them. I spent a good bit of time on them, and I enjoy myself doing it. And that's part of the whole thing. You should really try to enjoy what you do. You'll find that it'll be much easier for you to learn the program, much easier for you to work within the program if you're enjoying what you're doing. So think of something creatively that you would like to do for a DVD package. You know what I mean? Don't just do something because you got to get it done. Pick on something that you'll enjoy. Pick on something that you know about, okay? And create the design. You're supplied with a template right here. If you click this, you will get the template. It'll create a front, a back, and a spine. And I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to talk about how we would create this art. And I'm going to show you how I modified my template to do this job. I'm going to demonstrate how I did it. You don't have to do what I did, but I will explain to you why I think it's a better solution for creating your design. Your image will be a flat file, but next week we will be making it into 3D. Now, what am I talking about? Talking about this. Right there is a mock-up. There's my mock-ups showing my 3D designs. This is my one package, and this is my other package. And what I did just for the heck of it is I gave it a nice background, and I gave it some nice reflection down here, and I did this really cool version of a DVD. So the bottom line is this is what we are going to be producing next week. I might tomorrow night show you how to render a 3D object and put something on it. We will cover that again next week, but I want to give you as much of a chance of succeeding at this as possible. So I probably will show you this again tomorrow night so that you will get an idea of how it's done. And then I will repeat it on Monday of next week so that you really, really know what you're doing. I don't think it's particularly difficult. What is difficult is the rendering of the 3D object and the displaying of the image on the object. It calls for a lot of processing power and RAM. And my computer, my personal computer, I purchased myself, and it has the maximum amount of RAM that I could put on my computer. And it has, for the version of the computer that I have, it has the largest processor that I could get at the time. My computer now is about 3 years old, so if I were to go and buy another computer tomorrow, mine would probably have greater processing power and the availability of a greater amount of RAM. That's what you need to do this kind of work. So all I'm saying to you and mentioning this to you is because you may find that this is a little bit troublesome when you go to do it, because you have computers that you didn't really purchase, or you're purchasing through the school, and I don't know what the processor is. Also, there's a video card that I had to purchase for this. I purchased a special gamer quality video card. So between the video card, between the processor and the RAM, that's what helps make this work easier for the computer to do. So I've been in courses where we've done this before, and I've had some of the students struggle with this. And primarily the reason they were struggling is because the computer was being overwhelmed by the work that they were doing. So I alert you to that. You may not have any trouble at all, because not everybody does. And again, I went to a lot of trouble to make mine look very fancy. I'd like to see you have fun and be creative with yours. But again, as I say, I understand the circumstances. You have a lot of work to do, and you have a little bit of time. So do the best you can with this. Give me a nice design. So back to this. So anyway, this is the template. You're going to download the template. I have the template opened up in Adobe Illustrator, and I will show you that in just 1 minute. Before I do that, though, what I want to do is I want to go up to the week 3 assessment and talk about the week 3 assessment. Before you can map your artwork onto the DVD box, every single piece of artwork that you want to map onto the 3D object has to be defined as a flattened symbol in advance. So one of the things that we will do either tonight or tomorrow night, and I'm doing this first because I want to get to this stuff first. I want to make sure that you know this stuff as much as possible. Tomorrow night, I probably am going to do a little bit of critique on a couple of pieces that you guys submitted. The reason I would be critiquing that tomorrow night is not because I want you to necessarily go in and improve the art, although it would be nice if you did. The bottom line is I use my critiques as a way of teaching you a few new little tricks. So that's essentially what I am attempting to do with my critique tomorrow night. So the artwork on the face of the DVD has to be one symbol. The spine has to be another, and the artwork that represents the top of the DVD also has to be a symbol as well. So again, what it's really saying is that when you create a DVD box in 3D, you are creating a 3D box, which means that it has 6 sides. It has a top, a bottom, a left side, a right side, a back, and a front. 6 sides. Each side. Hi, Casey. I'm glad you came. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. I'm glad you come. So you got my message and you figured out what my cryptic thing was telling you, that I'm going to be coming early as opposed to 7 tonight.
Actually, I read the announcements and the emails.
Yeah, but I'm saying at least you understood what I was saying.
Oh, yeah. I'm all about being here.
Okay, very good. That's great. So what I'm doing is I'm just going through the explanation of the discussion and the assignment and the assessment. We're at the assessment right now, so I'll finish up with that. You can go back and look at the discussion and the assignment that I went over before and see what I was talking about. It's more or less just an explanation of what you're going to be doing.
Okay.
Tomorrow, what I've decided to do, I've decided to work on the assignment and the assessment tonight, and then finish up tomorrow night, whatever I don't get to tonight, and I will do critiquing tomorrow. And I was just saying before you came in that my critique isn't necessarily being done so that you would go back immediately and fix the things. My critique is more or less geared towards teaching you some things that you may not know about.
That's the way I always saw it, though.
Okay.
You're teaching me new things.
Yeah, and if you get a chance, I remember now, at some point, you're going to be making pieces that are going to go into a portfolio. So what you ultimately want to do is take some of the things that I suggest and go back in and modify what you're doing, bring it up to a level where you could use it as a portfolio. That's the reason that I'm teaching you this stuff.
Works for me.
Okay, so yeah. So anyway, you're going to be creating these 3D objects for the surfaces of your box. And just to quickly give you an idea of what we're talking about, this is what I'm talking about. Next week, you're going to be making these boxes. This week, you're going to make the art that goes in the boxes, right? So
okay,
you're only going to make one. I made 2. Okay, you only have to make one. And you can make it on anything you want. I was just saying that what I'd like you to do is pick something that you find interesting. Pick a topic for your 3D box, like whatever kind of music or whatever kind of story or whatever it is that you're going to be on your DVD. You pick whatever you think will be interesting for you, because I'd like to see you come up with something really nice. And then what I'll do is I'll show you how to put it onto the box. Have you ever done this before?
We did a CV cover a long time ago in school.
Okay, did you use the 3D tools though, or did you do it?
We did it flat.
Okay, so you did it by applying a
texture
distortion to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, you could do it that way, and I could even show you that to remind you. But 3D is a slightly different animal. 3D, you go into the 3D dialog box, and you get the box in the angle that you want and the depth that you want, and then you go down and you apply graphics to the surfaces. You didn't.
That's
do that?
Cool.
Did you do it, or that's not what you did?
No, that's not what we did.
Okay, so then tomorrow night, what I think I'll do tomorrow night is I'll give a demonstration of that tomorrow night, and I'll also give a demonstration of that again on Monday to make sure that it gets absolutely clear in your mind how to do this. The quicker that you get a chance to look at how this is done and maybe even just try it in a very simple way, the better it's going to be when you actually have to render this out for your final project. Now, again, I went to the mats on this one. I mean, I put in fancy backgrounds, I created a DVD, and I did 2 complete designs. You don't have to do that much. I mean, it would be nice to have some kind of a background. I also put in these drop shadows, okay, which I can explain to you how I did. I went really heavyweight on this because, you know, I was having fun with it. And that's what I keep saying to you. Try to have fun doing this. When you do this, try to have fun. Make it enjoyable. You'll find yourself more interest, you know, keep your interest going longer, and you'll do more work, you know?
Well, right now I'm personally going through a creative block.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, well, I've had a lot put on my plate with what's going on here at the house.
Okay.
My roommate being diagnosed with terminal lung cancer.
Jeez. Oh, boy.
So, and having to fight the VA with that. That's why, if you've seen, my work has come in, but it's been a little late.
Yeah.
Is because I'm dealing with him.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. That's rough.
It's not that I'm purposely doing it. It's shifting everything. And then, of course, last week I was watching the video for the courses, and I'm sitting there going, how am I going to do that? What am I going to do? I finally, 2 days ago, settled on a panda.
Okay, that's fine.
Because remember you said when I chose my first picture,
yeah,
that it was panda-esque?
Yeah.
Well, I took that and ran with it because pandas are my favorite thing.
No, you know, listen, one of the things that I'm saying is try to find things that you're going to enjoy working on. That's the whole point. I mean, that's what's going to make it better for you, because you'll get yourself more involved in something if you're enjoying it. Right now, they're not being, I'm looking at these assignments and these assessments, and they're not being so narrowly focused that you are trapped. They're a little bit open-ended. That's the way I'm interpreting every one of these things. In other words, here it's simply telling you you're going to
do this portrait, or this one is you're going to do the artwork for the DVD box.
Right here, you're for an assignment. You will design a DVD package using only Illustrator techniques. So, what is the thing that they're really demanding you do? Use Illustrator. That's really
to make a piece of art.
That's right. So the DVD design can be anything that you choose. That's why I'm saying, try to do something that you'll enjoy working on and that you think you'll know enough about that you can handle creating the artwork needed to make it make sense.
And see, this is the field right here, this DVD thing.
What?
Is where I want to head.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
I have a lot of friends who are musicians and DJs.
Right.
And they said once I got the schooling that I could start doing their cover albums.
Good. Well,
and stuff like that.
If you learn the techniques and watch how I do these next 2 weeks and come up with something that looks really good. I'm not saying it has to be all the way up to here, because, you know, I've been doing this for a very long time, and I am very experimental with the stuff that I do. But a bottom line is, you know, the nicer your end result is, you're going to probably end up putting this up on Behance. And you're, and you're probably,
if it's good,
right? Well, that's the whole point. The whole point is to make it good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to approach this the best I can, and I'll demonstrate how this gets done properly, and then you can take it from there.
And see, that's what I like about your instruction.
Yeah.
Is you show us the stuff you do, and you always preface it with, you're not going to be able to do this because I've been doing it for years.
Well, you won't be.
But this is where you may get to.
Yeah, right. What I'm trying to show you is that, and I can show you, I think if you look at my announcements early on, there was a link I sent you to some places that showed graphics that were done by Illustrator. I mean, there are people that do 10 times as amazing things as I do. I'm not, you know, ever going to try to say to you that, you know, I know how to do this better than anybody else. There's tons of people out there that are even better than me. But this,
and see, for me, I'm so uncomfortable in Illustrator.
Yeah, but that'll subside eventually. Eventually, you're going to begin to become more comfortable with it because you're going to begin to understand it a little bit better, and you're going to have to find it fun before you actually become comfortable with it, and that will take a little bit of time. a little bit of experience, and also trying some of the stuff that I show you.
Well, that's like when I created, you saw the swirl from my logo, right?
Yeah.
That was because of you.
Oh, good.
Because you and I had package design with you.
Oh, you had package design with me. Okay.
And you got us playing in the filters in Illustrator.
Right.
And that's how that came to be, was from remembering how you said play with the filters.
Great.
And
Great.
I'm more comfortable in Photoshop playing with the filters and stuff like that. And now I've got to turn it over to Illustrator.
Yeah, well, definitely do.
Instead.
I tell you, definitely do, because Illustrator is an incredibly important program. It's very doable. It just is a matter of adjusting your thinking some. It's worth it. It really is. Once you begin to see some advancement or some successes with the imagery that you create in Adobe Illustrator, it's very addicting. And you're going to find, because I went through the same thing when I first learned this. Of course, this you're talking like 12 years ago. When
it first came out.
Yeah, right. And even then it was harder because, number one, the program was in its infancy. Number two, the technical material that was available to us at the time was way technical, and it just was like impossible to understand because I was not that bright. You know what I mean? Today, there's all kinds of advanced places that you can go to learn this program. If you have a question, you can go to YouTube and find hundreds of videos showing you how to do all sorts of stuff in Adobe Illustrator. This, and to be honest with you now, in all those 12 years or however many years it really was, in all those 12 years, this Adobe has done everything in their power to make this program in Photoshop and all their programs as user-friendly as possible. These programs are very simple by comparison to what they once were. And there's no other programs out there that can do what these do in the way that they can do.
Yeah, I started with Photoshop at Photoshop 7 before it started CSing.
Right.
So, I know kind of where you're coming from.
There's a learning curve in everything, but they've done everything in their power to make this learning curve fairly friendly. And I think you'll ultimately find that if you go in and if you try to pick on things that you'll enjoy working on, and if you just let me show you some of the things that I've done and you try some of them out, sooner or later, what's going to begin to happen is
it's going to stick, and I'm going to go,
exactly.
I'm an Illustrator girl.
That's right. You'll find you love it. I love the program. I mean, whenever I get to teach a class in Illustrator, I'm thrilled because I just enjoy working in it so much.
Well, like last week's discussion, I went in there and I wanted it to be all Illustrator, just basics, but at the same time show some little bit of technique.
Right.
And I stretched out of my comfort zone a little bit.
Which is good.
The monsters that I used for the blue dot.
Yeah.
That was out of my comfort zone.
No, but that's
completely.
That's what I'm looking for. I mean, you saw what they wanted. What I wanted to see whether you would go beyond that. And I mean, I'm not gonna force you to do these things because you see what they want. And logically, someone would go in and say, okay, that's what they want. Boom, that's what I'm gonna do. And I kind of did that, but I sort of stretched it out a little bit by using some effects and stuff that they didn't say I couldn't use. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it blew my mind. It was like, okay, I could take that and make it look like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
when I have the time.
that's the thing. But again, that's how I want you to look at this. I try to show you stuff. It's always good when I got somebody in the room because when I'm working on something, they can stop me and ask a question. When nobody's in the room, it's very difficult because I'm showing stuff and I have no way of gauging whether what I'm showing them is relevant or not. Some of the stuff I'm showing, maybe they know already. I don't know. Unless there's someone in the room with me that I can say, hey, what I'm showing you, have you ever seen before? Oh, yeah, Bill, I've seen this before. Okay, fine, so I'll go on, If not, let me explain.
Yeah, I've seen it, but can I have a refresher?
Yeah, or maybe is there more to it? You know what I'm saying? And then I'll expand on it. But it's hard when there's nobody in the room,
Well, really have tried to make class.
No, you're here. Listen, you did a great job. You're here. You know that I'm going to be coming early tonight. I have a reason for that, and you're here, and that's wonderful. I'm glad to see that. So,
and it happened to pan out that my schedule, I had nothing to do this afternoon before when I thought we had class, and then I was like, well, I'll do my daily checkpoint, and then it says you've got 3 emails. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Read. Oh, okay. He's pushing class up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good. I'm glad you came. I really am.
And I'm glad I'm here because now I can, while you're doing the techniques and stuff, I can ask the questions that when I'm watching the videos go through my head.
Right. And that gives me the opportunity to expand and maybe clarify. And if it clarifies for you, perhaps it'll clarify for the other student as well. That's what I'm hoping.
Exactly. I hope so.
So,
because her work makes me go, I want to quit.
Listen, you have to learn the program, and everybody learns, and everybody's at their own level. And really, the only thing that you bring to the table is the skill that you have and your creativity. And that's your thinking. And that's what I'm really looking for. Your thinking, and try to apply your thinking the best of your ability to what you know how to do with this program already. And see if there's a few things in here that you can remember or understand that you can apply to what you plan on using. That's what I'm looking for you to look at the stuff that I do and see whether or not it's something that you would like to try out. And if it doesn't work out, you know how to get in touch with me, email. Or come in and visit me in Blackboard on Wednesday night or Saturday.
I also have your phone number.
And also have my phone number. Exactly. So, you know, if something don't work out, and you also have the video. The video shows much of everything that I show and what I do. So.
Yeah, and just after class tonight, today, I'm going to go in and start working on that panda because I got to rewatch the class so I can understand it and figure it out.
Yeah.
And then once I get it knocked out, I start the DVD.
Okay, good. Great.
Because I've already got the week planned.
All right, good. And like I said, I got some critiquing to do tomorrow night. Tomorrow night will be regular time, 7 to 9. 5 to 7 Mountain Time. For me, it's 7 to 9 because I'm in New Jersey. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, it's 6 to 8.
6 to 8. Okay, so yeah, you're about an hour behind me. So
I'm in Dallas, so
yeah. So it's Mountain Time is 5. It's 5 to 7, but for me, 9 to. I'm sorry.
Yours is 7 to 9.
7 to 9. That's right.
And I'm in between.
So listen, this here is the template. Now, I'm not going to click on this thing because if I click on it, I'll download it, and I already got it downloaded there.
I've got to download my copy of it, but that's cool.
All right, so let me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by going into Adobe Illustrator, and I'm going to let you take a look at what this template looks like, and I'm going to explain to you what it's supposed to be doing. And then I'm going to explain to you why I don't think it's the best thing that we should be using for what we're doing. And then I'm going to show you how you can very easily modify this template to make it more functional for you. And all of this, I hope, will make sense by the time I get done explaining it. Now, again, if
it doesn't, I'll ask.
Absolutely. The point is, this is what they supply you with. Use this template to create the front and back as well as the spine. Well, remember now, if let's see if it says it, I think it says it on the assessment. Here we go. Make all 3 sections of your DVD into symbols. So essentially, this is what you have to understand. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be making 3 sections. You're going to be making a front. I think they want you to make the front. I think I made the back.
I think it's a front, a spine,
and a top.
And a top, yeah.
I didn't do that. I made a front, a spine, and a back. It really works out more or less the same way. But my point is, in the end, these are going to be 3 entirely separate elements that are going to be turned into symbols and applied to your graphics. So if I go into my templates, here comes Illustrator. This is what that template, dvdtemplate.ai, this is what the template looks like, okay?
That's kind of boring.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, but here's the problem. Let's say, for instance, I want my entire template to be black. I want the background to be entirely black. What I would do is I would come in here normally. This is just off the top of my head thinking, okay? I would come in here and I would create a shape, one big continuous shape, okay? And there would be, if it were real, it would be bleed, but I'm not making it real. I'm just giving you an idea. So I got this one big shape, and I'm going to make it black by just swapping the fill and removing the stroke. So now it's black. But here's the problem. That's one piece. That's no good. If you want this thing to be made into 3 pieces, a front, a spine, and a back, what you would really have to do, let me go edit undo. Okay, what you'd really have to do is this. And I'll explain
Make
why.
3 different boxes.
Yeah. Edit copy, edit paste. Okay, and then there's my back, and then edit paste, and then come over here and butt it into there, and then size this thing and make 3 different pieces. Do you know why?
Because 3 different pieces of art.
There are going to be 3 different pieces of art generated for the front panel, the spine, and the template. Okay? So you can do it this way, but your temptation is to do it as one big piece, and then you run into trouble. So let me delete this, or better yet, before I delete it, this is what I did. Okay? See what I did? I went in there, and
3 different artboards.
Exactly. That's exactly what I did. I went in and made 3 separate artboards.
I like that idea.
Well, let me show you how I did it. All right. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get rid of all this stuff, delete it. Okay.
Right.
Then what I'm going to do now, this is set up. I guess this is set up to be the entire thing here. I don't think these guides are what I'm looking for. I think I go all the way to the edge with this. So what you would do with this is you would click on this artboard tool and you would come over here and you would click and you would create that move, Control Z. You got to create it. Let me see if I can get it, how I can get this done. It wants to grab this thing. Okay, here's how I would do it. I would come over here and I would place my cursor. Control Z. Oh, you know what? I know what. Let me go out here and do it. There we go. Start my artboard over here. Then I move my artboard in here like this. This is how I do it. Now I come over here carefully and I grab this thing and I bring this thing all the way down there. Okay, so now I have my first artboard. I know you have this big one here, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this second one and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to drag this thing over to here. And now I have my second artboard. So far, are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, now watch. I'm going to come in here and, oops, wrong tool. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start to create a third artboard. Then I'm going to drag that artboard in between the 2 and place them in the proper position and size it properly. And then I'm going to drag this thing down
where it belongs
until I have my 3 artboards. Okay? Now,
oh, I like that.
Now, I can do this one of 2 ways. I can simply just click on this one and move it over like that. Click on this one and move it over like that. Okay? Or I can go edit, undo, edit, undo. All right, edit, undo, move artboard. Or I can go to the artboard window, artboard, okay? And I can come over here to rearrange artboards, and I could rearrange them in a straight line, and I could put spacing of, let's say, 0.5, which is half an inch. Now watch. Boom. See?
Wow.
Yeah. Now there's my 3 panels. Now what it did was it made the 2 big ones and then the small ones. Let's go view, zoom out. Okay. Now, why am I doing this and why am I showing you this? What do you think? Why am I doing this?
Well, you're trying to make it easier for me.
I'm trying to make it clearer as to what we're working with here.
That too, yes.
Yeah, what we have is we have a front panel, we have a back panel, and
a spine.
Fine. Now, if you wanted to make a top panel, for instance, what we could do is, let me just bring this down a little bit. First of all, let me click on this. let me get the artboard tool and let me click on this. And let me go to the window menu and let's see if I can get info open. There it is, info. So it looks to me like the width is 0.569 inches. Okay, so it's a little bit more than a ½ inch. What I could do is come over here, okay, and I could come over and do this, and I actually think I have to go an additional width on this for the spine. So let's just rough it out and say ½ inch, right about like that. There. So now I basically have a top as well. Okay, and we can move that about like there. So that's what I would do. These are, and the reason that I'm doing this, just so that you understand clearly, I think you do. The reason that I'm doing this is because in the end, I want to build a separate piece for my front, a separate piece for my back, a separate
piece for your spine and top.
Each one of these, their own unique piece. I'm going to end up making them into symbols. Here are my symbols panel, okay? And these are my symbols right now. These are not the symbols that I'm going to use. I am going to use my artwork. I'm going to create symbols from my artwork. Okay, so any questions about this?
No, not yet.
Okay, does it make sense to you?
Makes very good sense.
Do you think that this would be something that you would be able to do once you get this?
That's something I'm going to do.
All right, so you got this coming at you. Let me go file revert because I think I did it on this. Let me go revert on it. I think that brings me back to, yes, this. So this is what you're going to get when you download that, okay?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not necessarily saying anything is completely wrong with it, but the normal person, I think, would probably tend to do something like this, you know, where they would just make one big piece for the background. And if that happens, that's impossible for you to use as 3 separate pieces because it's one big piece. You would literally have to go in and do as I showed you to do. You'd have to come in here and you would have to, you know,
break it down.
Yep, it would have to be 3 pieces. You'd have to have that piece there. They'd have to do that piece and that piece. And then they'd still be side by side on you, okay?
Yeah.
Which is okay if you're going to bleed elements from side to back, which I generally don't do. I didn't do that on mine. Let's put it that way. I didn't do that.
I don't like it when they do that either.
That's okay. I'm not saying it's bad, but in my particular case, I didn't. I have completely separate elements on them. And, you know, so I figured the best thing to do would be to, where did it go? Template here. There we go. I thought the logical thing would be to do this. Okay. Now, the next thing that I would do before
this template here makes sense to me. The other doesn't.
Yeah, well, it does because, again, I can create my front. Then I can think about what I'm going to do on my spine, and I can visualize what the spine's going to be. And then I can think about what am I going to do on the back, and I can visualize what the back's going to be. So I have to fill this space with something. I have to fill this space with something, and this with something. Whereas with the other, you know, you've got this thing.
Fill one thing with everything.
Yeah, well, you wonder about this. It's kind of like a little bit unclear, whereas this is absolutely crystal. This is what you're looking for. This is what you're looking for. This is what you're looking for. It's just, in my mind, a lot clearer. And again, you would do that with the page, the artboard tool. And when you click on this, okay, you want to create a new artboard, start out here first. Then you can move that artboard. Then you can move that artboard in place, okay? And then you can stretch the thing out and make it fit the space. See what I mean?
Yep.
And I don't need that one because obviously I have one there already.
Yeah. Okay. See, with me, what I like to do is I like to fit all in window so that way I can see it and it's big enough for me.
When I'm working on something like this, I generally like to have it a little bit. I'd like to go view, zoom out a little bit. The reason being is now I can kind of get working out here. I got some clearance to work out here. See what I mean? So I can start my shape. And then I can move my shape into position right here. And then that makes more sense. Yeah, stretch it out. And then I can take it and I can move it over here if I want. And remember now, I got my guides. You see the red line? Yeah, I have in the view menu, I have the smart guides active. The smart guides are something that I would recommend that you use. use?
Yeah, mine are turned on in my preferences.
Good. That's what I would do. I would Control Z. I don't know what that is. I don't know what's going on with that. Okay. Well, anyway, there is what you get. This is what I kind of recommend that you do. And again, what will I fault you if you don't? No. But this is just something that I think is smarter. Now, another thing that's smart, I mentioned this, I think, before. Remember the swatches? Do you remember what I said?
Yeah, I remember swatches, deleting all the unused ones, yeah.
Right. One of the things that I always do is I come up here and I come down and I select all my unused colors, okay? Select all used, and I delete them all. And then now this yellow for some reason stuck there. I don't know what I'm using it on. I'm not using. Oh, I know what it is. I think there's something over here if I'm not mistaken. No, it's gone. I don't know why that yellow.
It's in the other one.
Is it?
Yeah.
And then click on this to delete that and delete it. And now I have no colors in there whatsoever. And what I would then do is as I build, I would start putting my own colors in. And if you want your color, go to Window and go to Color.
Oh, I keep the color window up.
Yeah, there's your color. You can get any hue that you want here. You know what I mean? Like I have no idea what kind of colors you'd want to pick, but you can go any hue that you want, and then you can choose to either saturate it, which means essentially 100% color is full saturation, or you can begin to desaturate it and make it lighter and lighter by percentage. So this is 69% color with the rest being white. And as you further go down here, it becomes more pastel because now it's 51% with 49% white. So you're adding white to the color as you go down here, and you end up getting a lighter color. Bring it all the way back up to saturation. And then you have brightness, which basically means this is full-on color. But now as you move in this direction, what you're doing is you're darkening the color down, see, creating a darker green. So those are your sliders, and that's one way to go about generating color. Okay, now if you're working on something with gradients, see now this is HSB, so I got it HSB. So this is basically what I would do to generate my color.
Okay.
All right, so it's this one here. It's the HSB, not the RGB, not the CMYK.
No, RGB is Photoshop and CMYK is Illustrator.
They're different. What you're doing here is you're taking a color and you're defining whether it's lighter or darker. That's what you're doing with this. And then, of course, you can do this with any color. You can just slide this along, and you got the same business going with that blue, okay?
Yeah.
That's what I would do. And then once you got your color that you want, basically, oh, I don't know whether you know about this. Do you know what these are?
Those are how they look, I would say.
Nope.
I don't think I've ever been told what they are.
What these are, this really doesn't have any relevance to what we're doing, other than it's something I think you should know. And as an instructor, I try to teach things as they occur to me. Both of these are what are called warning symbols. That means that this color that we have right here, that blue that we have right there, does not work in web colors, nor does it work in print. Each one of these, this color right here, each one of them is off in both. If I wanted this thing to be done in print, if I wanted this to be correct color in print, I'd click this. And you see where it says in gambit color?
Yeah.
Okay, what does gambit mean? Gambit means range. That's what the word gambit means technically. So when you're looking at something that's telling you a gambit, you're talking about something that's telling you a range of colors. So
yeah, it's not in the right range for print.
For print, in this case, this is not in the right range for web. And all this is gives you the opportunity to choose one. So if I click on this, I just watch what happens to that thing there. You should see it change slightly. And it hardly changed at all. You could barely notice it. But now this is no longer in gambit for print, but this is in range or gambit for the web. That's what those two things are. And they will come up no matter what you color. You can play around with color all day, and one or more of them are going to pop up. Sometimes both of them pop up. There, see, now there I got color where this color is okay in print. That color right there will print fine, but it will not work on the web. So you see how those things work?
Yeah.
Now you know what those things are. They mean something to you.
Now I can go, oh, I need to fix that.
Well, if you're working in web, say, you see that comes up. If this is a web color, you want to click that so that it now becomes good in web. It doesn't become good in print though. See, now it goes out of Gambit for print, but you're going to be using it for web, so you're okay now. All right?
Yep.
All right, so that's it. I'm just explaining this. This is how you would work with your color. You have colors in here, and if you want to add the color, all you do is click New Swatch. And
it go, yeah, you can name it and go with it.
And there's a couple of things you should know about. There's process color and there's spot color. I don't know whether anyone ever told you about the difference between the two, but
I think so, but go ahead.
Process color is made up of 4 different individual colors. They're made up of cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And they print by putting one color over top of another, and when you put them all together, they create that color. Spot color is different in that spot color is a color that comes out of a can pre-mixed to that color, and it prints on an individual plate.
Ah, okay.
So the problem that you run into is if you're printing process and you have a spot color and you send it to the printer's going to see that, and he's going to have to use that spot color, which means he's going to have to add a plate to your project, and it's going to cost you money. And most of the time, people don't want to spend the money to do that. So you have to know the difference, because there is printing that is spot color printing. Usually when you're working on things like a business card, an envelope, a letterhead, that's usually done with spot colors.
That makes sense.
Okay. So what you're doing is now there you've added your color. Now library will pop up and you'll see your color in there too, but there's your color. So that's what you would do. Once you start working on this, if you want to pick individual colors, that's what I would do. I decide on what colors I'm going to work with, and then I would create them. Okay?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. And you can pretty much do anything that you want. Like I said, it's up to you to decide what you're going to create for your art. I'm going to go to my rock CD. This is my rock CD. This is what I created. So, you know, again, I just kind of found elements that I had. I don't know whether you were the one that was making the guitar or whether it was...
no, it was Carolyn.
Carolyn. Yeah, Carolyn made this guitar. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to show her the guitars because I got a bunch of them I made. This is one of them. So what I thought would be good, Rock's Greatest Love Hits. Rock, My World, and then Love, and then of course, you know, of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Those are my text elements on here. This is actually a piece of art that I created, and it has an effect on it. Let's see if I can show you the effect. Go to the window. Let's go to the appearance, and there you go, feather. See how when you close the feather off, see it's yellow.
Yeah.
By feathering it, okay, there's multiple layers here, just so that you understand. If I click on this thing, I'm going to move it. And do you see that it's red underneath?
Yeah.
So what I did was I just selected this, and I went edit copy, edit paste in front. After I drew this using the pen tool, okay? Edit copy,
wow.
Edit copy, edit paste in front. And then let's go edit undo move, okay? And undo the feather. So I have yellow sitting in front of red. So if I come over to the transparency so that you can see what I'm talking about, if I come over here, watch what I start sliding this down. What'll happen is that thing's going to start going orange. See, it's going orange because now it's getting transparent over the red. See what I mean?
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So but that's not my effect. That's not what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do is I wanted to feather the thing. So let me go back to appearance again. Let me go back to appearance and let me double click. Let me bring the feather back and let me double click on the feather. And what I did, just so that you know, is I went in and I played around with this until I got a radius of 0.14 inch. And that is what that setting is to give me that flame like that.
Okay. Yeah, I like to use the preview button.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not previewing it because it's already applied.
It's already done, yeah.
I'm just telling you, of course, you'd hit the preview to do that. Definitely. There's no doubt about it. But the point is, I'm going to hit cancel. The feather, that's what's being feathered. That yellow element is actually being feathered, so I get that look. That's how that's done. Now this guy here, this was made by a blend. Remember I showed you the blends when I showed you how I made my elements before? Let's see if I can show the blend. Yeah, click that. Yeah, see, it's a blend. See, it's just showing it as a blend. See that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what that means essentially, I'll show you very quickly what I'm talking about. I'm going to get a circle here. And I'm just going to draw out a circle like that. Okay, and let's make it actually red, because this is red and white, and you'll get a better idea that way. So let's go and make this thing red. Make it all the way up to red, because the background is red. Hit OK, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go edit, copy, edit, paste in place. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing, hold down the Shift key and the Alt key. The reason I'm holding the Shift key and the Alt key is so that when I start reducing this, do you see how it reduces right to the middle?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to reduce this thing so that they're aligned perfectly. So by holding down the Shift and the Alt or Option on you have a Mac or a PC?
Right now I'm on my PC. I need to get my Mac fixed.
Okay, well, if you're on a PC, then it's Shift Alt, and what it does is it actually reduces to the center. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So then what I do is I come down here and I change this to white with no stroke. So now let me just deselect it and show you. So I got this white and I got this red. Now that's what I did with the hearts. So all I'm doing is I'm showing you on a circle as opposed to on the hearts. Okay? Same basic premise, same basic idea, except that it's done with just a couple of circles. All right? So you're going to come into the, you're going to select both of these guys, go into the object menu, go back down to blend. We've done this before, and make the blend. And there is what that looks like. Very similar to what that looks like. Now,
okay.
I go back in here and I go object, blend, and then let's released. Let's go to object, blend, and let's go to blend options. You can come in here and you can change this however you want. Like this is set up right now to be smooth color. And a minute ago, you saw what happened. It looked pretty much like that. You could also come in here and you could go specified steps. And I could go, let's say 3. Let's go specify 3 steps. That means that there's going to be 3 individual steps from start to beginning. Okay?
Okay.
Get that okay. And go object, blend, make, and watch what we get now. See what we get like there?
Yeah.
That's the look we get. That's
kind of like the Looney Tunes look.
That does.
At the end with Porky Pig?
Yes, it does. It looks very much like the Looney Tunes. But what I'm trying to show you is how to work with a blend and get different effects. So let's go edit.
Yeah.
And let's go back to object, blend again. And let's go blend options. And let's go back up to smooth color. Okay. Or better yet, you know what we could do? Let's go specified steps. And let me put 200. Okay, and hit OK. Let's see what happens with 200. Object, blend, make. There. Now that is almost the same thing that I did there. The point with this is that you've got, if I were to grab this thing, let me get my direct selection tool. Let me show you something cool. If I click on this, there's my one shape, right? Actually, I want a group selection tool. If I click on this with the group selection tool, watch what happens when I click and drag this thing over to here.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible?
That's trippy.
That's a blend. And each one of these things, this is the only thing that really exists. That exists. That exists. The blend.
The 2 objects. The blend is.
The blend is generated by the. Yeah, it's generated by the computer. The computer or the program is creating that blend. Now, if I want, watch this. With this selected, if I'm going to select the whole thing, okay? If I go object blend, or I'm sorry, object expand, and I'm going to expand the object, hit OK, look it.
Wow.
There are 200 of those shapes in there. Now let's go edit undo, or better yet, let me do this. I'll go to view menu outline. See what that looks like? Those are 200 individual shapes, because now I expanded it. The program made every one of those shapes.
Wow.
I'm going to go edit undo. And see now what you got? Two shapes. Because that's the only two shapes that really exist, unseparated or unexpanded. The moment I go object expand and I choose object and hit OK, then I get my 200 objects. Now I can come in here and let's go to the view menu and let's go to my group selection tool, and I can click on one of these guys and I can drag it out. See? And I can come over here and click on one of these and I can drag that out. See what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Now they all exist. Every one of those things exist. Okay.
Wow.
So that's a blend. That's how I made that. You know how I did this? I actually just, let me get rid of this whole thing up here because I don't need it. Is this clear enough what I'm doing? Does it make sense?
Yes.
Does it help you?
Yes.
All right, delete that. All right, so I made that by doing this, except of course I use the heart. This I made by just basically coming up with a shape, which is yellow, and just going in. And again, one of the things that I really like, go to the window, is this guy right here, the appearance panel. My recommendation is that you get into the habit of having your appearance panel open, because the appearance panel tells you what you have been working on, what you've done to it so far. That's why when I open this up, I can see I have no stroke on that flame, and I have a fill of yellow. If I come in here and I change the color, watch what happens. I can change it to black. See what it looks like?
Yeah.
I can change it on the fly if I want. I can put it back to yellow. That's not the right yellow, so I go edit, undo, and edit, undo. So this is a very good panel to know about, because this will show you pretty much what you've been doing to any particular object.
Well, I remember in the first week you told us about that one.
Yeah.
So
I keep mentioning these things because I want you to learn that, you know, these are important things for you. Okay.
I've already got it to where I went and created a new workspace, and it's saved in my workspace to where I can see it.
Good. Now,
at all times.
Another thing that's very important, and I don't know whether, yeah, I got it a little bit here. Layers. Layers are very important. Start working with layers. Right here. Go ahead.
If you looked at my last assignment that I actually turned in,
yeah,
there's lots of layers in it.
but what you have to do is you have to be very strategic with your layers. What I did with mine is I set up 3 layers. My layers have the background on it. Okay. My middle layer has all the art elements on it. So every art element is on that middle layer. And then my top layer has all of my text elements on it. So
that makes more sense.
Yeah, and I'm saying to you that you know, you could have more. I just have 3 because I try to keep it relatively simple. But this way, and I also am careful to name the oh
yeah, I'm naming things like with the bed thing, with my how to make a bed.
Yeah.
It was top layer, you know, fitted sheet, top sheet.
Yeah.
You know, I went with each section of it that way.
Yep.
Because I have learned far too many times, if I don't start doing it at the beginning of the project,
right,
I'll put it all on one layer.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, that this why I show you this is because I want you to get into the habit of always doing this and getting rid of the colors.
That's another thing I need to remember.
Get in the habit of doing that. And then this way, as you build your design, you can come in and you can incorporate colors that you want to add to the mix of things. It's very important for you to do that. Now, the next thing, and of course, the appearance panel, always think about the appearance panel when you're working on stuff. Now, the next thing I just want to talk about is, are you familiar with envelope distortion?
No, I've never seen that either.
This is envelope distortion.
Okay? Cool.
Well, let me show you how to do that. All right, because again, these are things I want you to think about when you're creating your cover. These are things that I think will help make your cover look cool. So are you good with, you're good so far, you're good with the idea of separating these panels, why I'm telling you to do that. You know, I'm not just being a nut, right?
No, I actually like the idea.
you understand how I used a blend, and I went in, I used a blur, Gaussian blur, And
Oh, I know how to use Gaussian blur.
yeah, and the blend, how I use the blend here. Okay.
Yeah,
So
that
these are
was
things
something
you
I
may
wasn't up
use.
on.
You may use them, you may not. It's totally up to you. I'm just trying to show you things that could come along. Enveloping. Enveloping is something that's really great. This is expanded now, so I can't envelope this. I'm going to have to redo it. This one here, though, is freshly enveloped. So what I can do is I can go to the object menu, and I can come down to envelope distort, and I can go to release. Now, right there is the enveloping object that I created and used to warp that text, okay?
Okay.
Delete it. And the reason I'm deleting it is because I'm going to go in and I'm going to play around with this text and envelopes and show you how these envelopes work. Because I used an envelope on this one too, but this one has been expanded. And I'll show you how to expand that when I get done. But that's another thing that you could do is make it permanent by expanding it, okay?
Gotcha.
Or you can keep it active like I did on this one because I wanted this to be a demonstration. Now here's where having your layers helps, because now I can take the artwork layer and I can hide the artwork layer. Now I'm focusing on just the text. Oh, and by the way, what I'll do is I'll lock the background layer. So I got the
that's always a good idea.
Yep, this way your background layer can't move. It's basically locked down. This is up here. This is not locked, but I ain't going anywhere near this, so it's not a problem. My artwork is hidden, so it doesn't get in my way, and I can work with my little text object down here. So now I got this selected. I'm going to go to the object menu. You find the envelope distortions in the object menu. You don't find them in window. You can't go under window and find a panel for envelope distort. You see, it's not there.
Yeah, I see.
I think in effects, you can go into effects, and I think you can, let's see here, distort, let's see here. Where is it? Free distort. Hold on, give me a second if it's in here. Pathfinder, stylize, job shot, nope. Effect gallery, artistic blur, sort of distort. No, it's warp. Wait a minute. Yeah, here we go. Warp. These here are envelopes under warp. Envelopes also exist under warp. Okay?
Okay.
Keep that in mind. But the true place, this is a place that I most often come to. Go to the object menu, go to envelope distort, and then just go make with warp. And it'll pop open a make with warp dialog box. That's where it comes from. Doesn't come from window. It comes from object envelope distort, make with warp. And now you see what it did. It automatically put a style of warp on it. That's the style I'm using for Rock My World. It's called Arch. And it's automatically pumps it out at horizontal 50%. And that's the curve that you get generally from that. Now, what I want you to see here and what I want you to understand is, can you see that rectangular shape right there?
Yeah.
That represents the shape of the original text. This shape here represents
the new text.
It's the actual right there. See that right there? Remember we talked about this guy right there? The I can't think what the heck it's called. And the mesh tool.
Yeah.
That mesh. Let's go edit undo. And let's go object envelope distort make with warp. That is essentially a mesh. And that mesh is creating that curve. So, of course, you're going to preview this thing. Now, what you can do with this is you can adjust the warp as much or as little as you want by just going this way with the slider. If you want it real extreme, you come all the way out, and it's very extreme. It does a pretty damn nice job, too, because it doesn't distort the text terribly. It does distort it, but not too bad. I generally never go this far with it. I'm generally somewhere in this range right there, or maybe a little bit deeper, like I did at the one up there, Rock My World. It kind of depends on what it's going to be around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I can also go the other way with this, and I can bend it the other way. And this I do a lot, too. Sometimes I'll come up with a secondary bit of text that I'm going to bend in this direction, okay? Now, there's also this. You can also come in here, and you can just distort this horizontally. See what it's doing? See what it's doing? It's kind of making it go shorter there. Gives it a perspective look. And again, you can go the other direction and make it look like it's going in the other direction perspective. That's one other thing that you could do. And of course, if you bring it back to 0, you're getting nothing applied to it. Or you can go this way with this, where you're making it lay down. A lot of times this is cool if you're making a repeat of text. Like if you have text and you want...
Like in the Star Wars movies.
Yeah. Or if you want to put some text over this, I'll show you what I mean. Let's go edit copy, edit paste in place. And let me move that up a little bit until it's right at the top, right there. And let me click this guy and let me go like this. Let me go, see if I do this the right way. I think I'm going to go like this. Horizontal. Preview. Yeah, I think that's what I want. That's good. Now I'm going to move this up into position and watch this. If I go into object, and it may not be the right direction, but we'll see. Envelope, make with warp. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down to 0, or bring it all the way to 0. There we go. And I'm going to start dragging this thing out vertically. I went too far with it. I want to go about like that. See how that makes it look sort of like it's
mirrored?
Yeah, give it a mirror kind of image. And then you would hit OK. And then maybe you'd come in here on this kind of thing if you want. And you would go to opacity, and you'd set the opacity level down to about 50, very light. See, and it's beginning to look like shadowy.
Mm-hmm.
It has one way you can get a shadow out of it. And just work with shapes or edit, undo. I hit it with the button there. So you see how you can come up with something like that?
Yeah.
Kind of cool too, huh?
That is cool.
So let's get rid of that, and let's just go back to doing this. So let's go back to object, envelope distort, make with warp, and let me show you a couple of more warps. This is another one of these things that you're going to go in and play with. I'm showing you this. You're going to go in and play with this, and the more you play with this, and again, you don't necessarily have to automatically, come up with something that you absolutely want to use. You just go in and play with it to understand what it does. Make some shapes or make some text, and go in and start playing with this and see what this can do for you. This also can give you vertical. All right, so if I do this vertically, see what I get? That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the old microphone, megaphones.
Yeah, if you want, you could have like, something coming off of one side and come off the other side and make it look like an announcement kind of a thing. It's a lot of fun with this. Now, just so that you know, there's not just, you don't have to work with just arch. They have a bunch of them in here. You have lower arch. Now, I'm going to just slide this over to about maybe 30 or 40. That's probably pretty good, or maybe a little bit more. Okay, so lower arch. See what's happening is, let me hit cancel.
It's giving kind of a wraparound feel.
What I want to do is this another thing. I don't know whether this will work or not, but let me try. Let's go hide edges. Okay, so I'm hide. Yeah, see, it's not. Oh, you know what? Window, bounding box. Is it bounding box? View bounding box. Is it? Hide bounding box. There we go. Okay, now I think we're there. Let's go to object, envelope distort. You know what I just did?
What?
What I just did here? I hid the bounding box. See that?
Yeah.
The bounding box is the equivalent of that guy right there. See, I just put that on there?
Yeah.
That's what the bounding box is, okay? And that's something that you use for resizing. A lot of times the bounding box is on by default.
For me, it helps me figure out which one I've got selected.
Yeah, but you don't need it. Look, because you click on this thing. If I go to the view menu and I go show edges, you see, I know that that's selected because that's text, and you see the line underneath that's selected. If I click, see how that shows me? If I had the bounding box, let's go to the view bounding box. See, you got an extra element, and I don't want that. So I generally go to the view menu and I hide the bounding box. Now, I'm going to go back to this because what I'm trying to show you also is while this is selected, if I want to see how this is going to perform a little clearer, I can also go up to my effect or to the view menu and I can go hide edges. Now, that's still selected, but you can't see the selection line. Am I making sense to you?
You are now.
Okay. I'm going to go to the object menu and I'm going to go to envelope distort, make with warp. See? And now watch, I got my arch. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go upper arch, or arch lower, I'm sorry, arch lower. Let's see what this does. See what it does?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go to the next one, which is the arch lower.
Yep.
And then there's a regular old arch, which is it's a little bit different than it's arch, and there's also arc. They're slightly different. So you just got to get used to them and play with them a little bit. There's bulge. So it makes
bulge is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it makes it look like it's coming fat towards the middle. This is great if you're making a face out of text. You know, this would be a great mouth kind of a deal.
Yeah. And my other favorite is twist.
Yeah. And then there's this one, which is the lower shell. And then there's the upper shell. And then there's the flag. Flag is the one that I used for this. See? That's the one that
that's the one you were teaching us in package design.
Yeah, and this is the one that I use. Well, this is the one that I tend to use a lot of it, but I think I used it with a little bit more extreme curvature. That's probably about where I had it, somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, I don't know whether it was exactly it or not. Okay, and then, of course, it continues down. You got wave, okay, and I don't know, wave is not, it's not giving me an awful lot of, yeah, okay, but this...
Maybe it's a vertical kind of thing.
No, it's working. It's just, you know, I don't use it very much. Then there's fish, which is kind of crazy, and I don't know that I really would ever use this for anything. And
it
then,
looks like a fish.
Yeah, and then there's rise. This one I used to make a flag, and it really came out cool. And then there's fish eye, which is kind of a crazy thing. It sort of makes everything look like it's, you know, stretched in the middle and squinched at the edges. Okay.
Or like pinched together.
Yeah. Some of these things are not too good with text. You know what I mean? Like they're okay with graphics maybe, but then there's inflate. Okay. And then of course squeeze. And then of course there's twist. So really you just have to play with this. What I did generally, I used the flag, and I think I used the flag to about that point right there.
Yeah, that looks about right.
Okay. And now if I bring back my layers with my graphic elements, there, that's sort of what my overall look is like. Now, is there anything more I can, by the way, this is done the same way, except it's just different font. Is there anything more you'd like to know about anything that's going on here?
So far, no, because it's all good.
Okay. Is this clear what I'm doing? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that I can visually see it as you're doing it.
All right. Now, there's a couple of things that I would like you to do. When you make your front, and if you make your back, what I'd like you to do, and how I did this was I actually created this text by creating a shape, setting the column to 2 column, and filling it with placeholder text. Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
You know how to do it?
Yep.
Okay.
Because now with CS17,
yeah,
you put a text box in, it automatically fills it.
It does. And what you would do ultimately is I would create with the area type tool, or the type tool, I think is actually what you do. You create a shape like that, and it fills it up. All right. It fills this up. Let me get out of the way of this so you can see this a little bit better. So you got this thing filled with text. All right. And then you're going to go to the, you know what the problem is? Go to the view menu and show edges. There. Okay. So remember, view, hide edges, view, show edges.
Yep.
All right. There. Okay. Now I think of the object text frame. Let's see where we're at here.
I usually use
type.
The view menu a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. For like zooming, or well, not zooming in and out basically, but when I want to see all the artwork at once, or you know, just my artboard, or I turn my grid, not my grid, but my guides on and off, or turn my rulers on. You know, little things.
Yeah. Where did I do this? Now I'm trying to remember where I did this. I forget where I did it. Object. I thought it was object. Where are we at? Shape, how to blend. Where are you? Text wrap. Make. No. Line and art. No. Compound. Where were you? Type. Fonts. Recent fonts. Where was this? Convert to point type. Area type options. Yeah, here we go. Area type options. I think this is it. Yeah. Rows and columns. Okay, so let me close that. Cancel. and go to type, and where are you at? Area type options. You got that?
Yep.
Type area type options. You open it up, and what I'm going to do is I want 2 columns, not rows, 2 columns. So I just click on 2, and then I can hit preview, and there's 2 columns. That's all it takes. Okay. That's how I did that. And I just made, this is supposed to be representative of side 1 and side 2. That's the songs. But since I don't really have any songs, this is a make-believe world that we're creating here. I wanted you to see what I did, how I did this. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So you good with that?
Yeah.
All right. Again, I'm trying to show you the things that I'd like you to be adding to this, and I want to make sure that you have everything that you need to do some of this stuff. I don't know what you're going to do. Visually, I don't know what you're going to do. I can't help you there. The other thing I want to tell you is, see this Rock My World? I want to go back to my appearance panel. Let's go to appearance. So I accidentally shut that. I didn't mean to. See how that's got a drop shadow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, watch. Go to the view menu. And let me hide the edges. Okay. Take a close look. Can you see it in there?
Yeah, barely. So, but I can see
it. Well,
it.
It's subtle. But you see what happens when...
And that's a good thing.
Yeah. It doesn't... You see how it kind of helps make it stand off a little bit?
Now it makes it more... Well, when it doesn't have the drop shadow, it slams in your face. But when
it stands
it accentuates it.
Yeah. So that's another thing that I did. Okay? Mm-hmm. And again, you know where you get that. You get that to effect, drop shadow. Where is it at? Where are you at? Effect, stylized drop shadow. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sometimes use a glow.
Okay. That's another way you can go. And now, the other thing is, what I did was I put a couple of elements down at the bottom here. Now, the reason I did that is because I want this thing to look as much like a
realistic as possible.
Yeah. So what I did was I went online and I looked up music icons. So let's see if I can find it now. Let me open it again, and let's go to music. MUSIC. Whoop! It's not going in there.
I usually put it in the address line myself.
Music, company, logos. There. Okay, and then I'm going to go to images. And see now there's a bunch of music industry logos. Okay, so what I did was I found easier ones. Okay, and there's a good one right there, the island. Now let me just show you what I did so that you have a good idea how to do this. I'm going to view image. There it is. And I'm going to drag it over to here. All right? And let's get out of there. Close tabs. Okay. So what I did basically was I took this logo in here. It's a nice size logo. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to make this into a piece of vector art, which is what I did with these. These are 2 I found in there, and I made them into vector art. So I select this, and I go to the object menu, and I go to image trace, make. There. And now, if we take a look at this, it actually did a pretty good job. Okay? This is much bigger than I'm going to use. I didn't even have to go in here. This is the image trace dialog box. Do you remember me working with this at all?
Yes.
Okay. Are you okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically what you have is you got advanced, and that means that you can play around with the paths and maybe make the paths cleaner. The corners, you can play with the corners and make them cleaner. Okay. And if you drag them lower, you see how it muddies up? Did you see it? Watch,
yeah, I see it.
Watch when I bring it up. You see how that cleans up?
Yeah, it makes it sharper.
Yeah, and then there's noise. And if you put noise in there, well, actually, I got rid of that piece. That actually looks pretty good now. So basically what I'm trying to do is make this look as good as possible, okay? Because it's not something that I'm going to use in real life. Once I get it to where I use it, it's looking good by using threshold, paths, corners, and noise. And again, play around with these. It may open up like that. You just open the advanced up, and they're there. Once you get that there, and I'm just using, the setting I'm using is just black and white. There are color, grayscale, black and white. There are different ones, okay? So, you know, I'm just using the black and white because that's what this is. I hit Object, Image Trace, Make, or Expand, and now it's expanded. But remember, I go to the View menu and I show edges. Okay, so you see now what it is? It's the vector art. So all I do is go Object, Ungroup, and I click on this piece, and it should be able to delete it. I did. But you see, I still got the inner pieces. Let's delete that, and let's delete that. Okay? And now I have this. If I want, I can come in here, and I can pick a color. Let's say I want something like a orangey red, like maybe something like that. Let's go pretty bright. Let's actually make it a little bit more towards the yellow. That's cool. There. Oh, and by the way, if that occurs, you just go to your color and change it from grayscale to RGB or HSB, and your color comes up.
Okay, I wondered how that changed.
Now watch, I'll do it again. I'll click on this guy, double click on this, and I'm going to make this one even brighter yellow. You know what, maybe I'll go to a greenish yellow. That's kind of a cool color. I'm just playing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, and once again, see what happens? Look
Did the gray thing,
it's
you gotta...
It's grayscale. It automatically goes to grayscale. So when it happens, don't get upset. You just go in here and change it to HSB or something, and there you got your color. That's what I did to get these little elements down here. That's what I did to get those elements right there.
Cool.
Now, have you ever gone in and got yourself a barcode before?
Yeah, I have the site bookmarked for the barcode generator.
Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're going to generate a barcode. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I wanted this thing to look as real as possible. And if you look at a real DVD cover, you'll see that they generally have these elements down at the bottom like that. You know?
Yep.
So I would put them in, and again, I would generate some text in the back like this, make it 2 columns like I showed you how to do, and then just creatively do whatever you want to do with this. On the edge, what I decided to do is I just thought I would put rock's greatest love hits, and then 60s, 70s, and 80s. You see what I mean? And
basically the title of it.
Exactly. And I used the color red that I used on it. And you know what? That's about all you can do on the side of a thing like that. So it makes perfect sense.
You kept the consistency.
Yeah. Okay, so there is our symbols. Now, have you ever made a symbol before?
Once, but I forgot how.
Okay, so here's the deal. You first of all have to go to the Windows menu to open your symbols panel right there. That's the symbol panel. I got it opened already. Now, I like to remember now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating 3 individual symbols that are for a particular project. These symbols that are in here now are totally meaningless to us. All they are is like symbols that they put in by default. It's the same exact thing as your color panel. When you open up a default color panel, you get all those colors. It's just default colors that they put in there to get you started. They don't mean anything to you. That's why I usually get rid of them. It's the same thing with the symbols. When you got these symbols in here, they're not going to do you any good. You're not using any of them. So what you do is come in here, again, do the same thing. Select all, and then just delete them, okay? And you're going to delete them, yes. So now you've got no symbols in there. You've got a front cover. Let me do this. Let me drag this out and put that away. And let me get this over just a bit and open this up just a little bit more so I get some more room here. So I got 3 symbols potentially that I want to make. My symbols are going to be the front cover, the spine, and the back cover. So what I need to do is I need to actually select all these guys. Okay, so it's all selected. Now, if I want, I can go Object Group. That's actually, apparently, it's already grouped. It's not grouped. What's going on with this? How come it's telling me Object?
Group wasn't grayed out.
Yeah, Group. There we go. Okay, you're right. Now let's see what we got. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now if I click on that, okay, so there's one piece. It's all grouped up. And I'm going to select all of that, and I'm going to go Object Group again. And then I'll come over to the back one. I don't have to do this. I'm just doing it because it makes it a little bit easier, because then I can just click on something. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't have to fool around. object group. Okay, so now I got all these things grouped. Now, the interesting thing is that I don't
think you got the back top title grouped in.
Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I did. I think I don't think I got the background. You know what I bet I did? I bet I have the background locked. Yeah, let's go edit. Let's go in here. Let me select this again. I'm just going to group it, object group again. There we go.
You might want to get the other two the same way.
I'm going to object group again, and then object group again. All right. Now, I normally don't want to double group them, but it's not going to kill anything. So here's the thing I want to explain to you before I actually go to the trouble of making these symbols. You can pretty much make a symbol out of all this stuff. Like when I click on this, see, I have a blend here. I have a distortion here, a warp.
Yeah.
I have a drop shadow. I have live text, and I have an effect. I have all this stuff, and then I have a very complex drawing of a guitar. So it's a very complex piece of art. All the stuff that's in there is going to cause me no trouble to make a blend with. All of this stuff was generated in Adobe Illustrator. In other words, this thing here is the only thing that's a bitmap. This guy right there. You see it? Can you see the shape?
Yeah.
That's a bitmap. That's the only bitmap. It's probably going to give me an error message. I'll see what it tells me, but I believe it'll let me do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this guy, and I'm just telling you this, that since this is all done in Illustrator, this gives you a lot of leeway as what you can do. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to drop it into the symbols panel. And I let go, and I get the new symbols dialog box. And I'm going to call this front, F-R-O-N-T. Very simple. You don't have to get all fancy with it, just front. The export type is movie clip or graphic. And I'll be honest with you, if you left it as movie clip, it wouldn't much matter. I generally like to make it a graphic because I know I'm working with a graphic. This is a dynamic symbol or a static symbol. Dynamic symbol means that I can readjust the size on it. A static symbol means you can't. And the registration point is in the middle of the object, okay? So I'm going to leave it the way it is, a dynamic symbol. It's called front. It's graphic. And I hit OK. And blend envelope object type must be expanded before saving the dynamic symbol. Click OK to expand and save changes, or click cancel to continue editing. So what this is going to attempt to do for me is this is going to attempt to expand the blend. Now, do you know what the blend object on there is? Do you remember?
The blend object is the heart.
That's right. Very good. So what it's going to do is it's going to expand it. Remember what I did when I expanded it? It created all those shapes?
Yeah, it went way across the...
That's right. That's what this is going to do. I hit OK, and there it goes. See, it automatically did that for me. So what I'm trying to make you understand is that this program is amazing in what it will do for you. It'll help you whenever you make a mistake or you forget something, like my forgetting to expand that blend. You see, look at the difference now. You see when I see what it looks like?
Yeah.
If it's expanded, there's like 100 of those little squares going from one to the other.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's really, really an incredibly helpful program. So there's my front. There's my front. And here's my spine. So I'm going to click on this, and I'll drag that in. And then I'm going to call that
spine.
Yep. And I'm going to change it from movie clip to graphic. Again, you don't have to do this because movie clip and graphic work the same way. I just like to do it because I know I'm not really sending this into Flash. Or what's the other one? Not Flash. The new version of Flash is...
Animate.
Yeah, Animate. If I were going to send this into Animate, I could send it in as a graphic, but I could also send it in as a movie clip. But I'm not... Yeah, so I'm going to leave it dynamic, and I'm going to make a graphic. It's going to be called spine. I'm going to hit OK. There shouldn't be any error messages on this because there's nothing but some live text. You see how that went in nice and cleanly?
Yep.
So there you go. These are the two things that you have to do. Now, the next one is this. I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag that one in, and I'm going to call this one back, B-A-C-K. And this is going to be a graphic, and it's going to be a dynamic symbol, and I'll hit OK. And there it is. All three of them are in there. Now, this is what I want you to see. Take a look. When I click on this guy, you see what happens? It doesn't show up like a regular graphic. See how the highlighting, oh, actually go to the view menu. No. See what happens when you have this thing set as a symbol. Can you see in the middle there? See that little plus sign, that little,
Yep.
With a little cross? That's what a symbol gives you. Watch when I click on the middle one. See in the middle there? That's, if you remember when I went in here and made this a symbol, it asked me where I wanted the registration point, and I put it in the middle. That's the registration point. That's what this is. Each one of these things are no longer regular graphics. They're all symbols. Okay?
Yeah.
And those are the symbols, and that's what we're going to put on our 3D object. We're going to put those on our 3D object. So we have to create our graphic. After we create our graphic, we have to go to the symbols panel, clear it out, and we have to put in the panels named. There's the front, there's the spine, there's the back. How we doing? You good with all that?
Yeah, I'm doing good with it. I had to think a minute.
You think you can handle? I mean, you got the video to recall, but
yeah, I think I can handle it.
All right. If necessary, if you run into a problem, you have it's a 2-hour video, unfortunately. What I can do is,
I can skip.
well, you can skip, but you can also, if you have a problem with it, you can also contact me and let me know. And what I'll do is I'll make a breakout, very short breakout video on it and show you it again on a breakout video. I do this quite frequently, and I put them up on YouTube where my well,
I subscribe to your channel.
Okay, so have you ever been in and looked at any of the little breakout clips? I mean, there's a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
Because I have a little breakout one here and there that somebody will say, I'm having a real problem with this, and I'll say, well, I'll go make a quick video, and I'll make like about a 5-minute video showing how that's done. So if any of this is required for you, you let me know. All right?
Yeah, and like I said, I can always scan through the video.
Okay. All right. Now, this is my other one. Oops. No, I want my jazz. This is my jazz. Okay, this is my jazz.
Now that one's beautiful.
Yeah, this one is different. I made this one a little bit different but it's all the same thing. I mean, if you take a look at it, it is. Graphics that I made. This is all made in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, and this is regular old text. What I did here was I actually faked a DVD. Let's see if I can get it out to show you. Actually faked the DVD. Yeah, see, it's a symbol. I can't do it. It's a symbol. Edit, undo. Yeah, okay. So anyway, this is a DVD that I put in there. I'm just trying to make the cover look kind of complicated. That's really what it is. And
it does.
Yeah, but it also looks nice. And you'll notice that what I did was I darkened the back quite a bit. So it's like, and I also put, instead of the daylight sun, I put the moon on the back. So it's like day and night kind of a deal,
Yeah. I kind of caught that.
Yeah, that's what I was. But you'll notice that I use the same elements across the bottom. It's, and
you also used the glow.
I did. Yeah. So all these things. Now, this is the only piece, the jazz is the only piece that's a real strange one. How I did this was I went in and I actually hand drew the J-A-Z-Z. I drew that by hand. And I drew it in ink, and I brought it in, and then I traced over it using the pen tool in Adobe Illustrator. And then what I did was I offset the line and turned it into that letter jazz. Would you like to see how I did that?
Sure.
All right, so let me see if I can do this. I got to double click on this to get this thing open. Come on. Let me go to let's see if I can do this. Come on. There we go. All right, so let me click on the jazz. Hold on. G, Z, A. Okay, let's go edit. Let's go copy. All right. So you're good, basically, though, you're good with all that I showed you today as far as how to work on your graphics and build yourself something and how to set up these panels like this and why I would do it. I don't want you to think that I'm nuts doing it. I did it because I think it makes sense because it's easier for you to put the symbols in place, right? All that's clear to you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. I
And
just
when
want
he
to make sure.
started showing me the breakup like that, I was just like, that's the way I got to do it.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And let me just hit this artboards. I only want one. There we go.
How can we get that to actually say inches instead of pixels or points?
Oh, easy. Hold on. Let me get this in here. Oh, crap.
Yeah, get that in there.
Let me just go to my, where are you at here? My, where's my appearance? Did I shut it? I did. I'll be damned. Okay, I want to get that 3D extrude and bevel out of there. And I want to get the stroke out of there. And I want to get the, yeah, that's probably good. Let's see if that's all right. So let me show you how I did this. I'll show you how I did this. But you were asking me how to get the, whatchamacallit out of it. The,
Yeah, let's see that first.
all right, so what was it? Oh, file new. Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
So what you have here.
It doesn't save it.
Well, you see what, all you have to do is see where it says pixels.
Yeah, I dropped it down there.
Check inches. And now it's showing inches. That's all. Now it'll show inches. This is inches. I'm going to make this, I'll make this with 11. Oh, I didn't get rid of the other. 11. Come on, clear out. What the heck? Okay, there we go. 11. And then this is going to be 8.5. And then when I hit create, it'll come up as inches. That's all. Okay. Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah, I was just wondering how we could make it stick.
I think the way to do it is if you, how do you do it? Let me see if we go to the edit. Let's go to preferences and let's go to general for a second to get it open. Let's see units and undo. All right, let's see general inches, stroke points. Let's see, no. Grids and guides, selection and anchor display, user interface, file handling, appearance and blacks. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'll have to Google it. When I find it, I'll let you know.
All right. So this is what I did. You're looking at the end result here, okay? So let me do this first of all. Let me come over here and let me create another layer. And I'm going to call this layer original. Okay? Right?
Yep.
And then I'm going to call this one trace. Now, I'm going to ask you to use your imagination because I don't have the original. The original's gone, long gone. But I did this originally in pen and ink. I did, like a felt tip pen. I just drew J-A-Z-Z. I just drew it that way. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So now before I lock this original, let me select it and let me go in here and let me go to, let me go to transparency and let me make this lighter. Let me bring it down and bring it to about there. There we go. That's probably pretty good. Yeah, I just want it to be readable. Okay? Then go back.
And there, but not.
Yeah, and I'm going to lock this. Then I'm going to zoom in on this. Okay? And what I did basically was I got my pen tool and I'm on my trace layer and I'm going to come in here and I click place my first point right about there. And then I'm going to come down to about here and I'm going to click and I'm holding and I'm dragging the line until it sort of hits. See, I'm trying to get it in the middle of this.
Yep.
Okay. And then what I want to do is see if I come around like that, it's actually not too bad. It's actually pretty much where I want it to be. I could do this. I could go like that. And that's not too bad. Oh, by the way, you don't want to have a fill. You want to get rid of the fill. And then let's come around here. See, now if I come around here, see how it's now a straight line?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have to click and I have to drag that until I get that somewhere in the middle, like about like that. Okay? And I don't think I did a real good job there, but we'll continue anyway. Now this one I can come way out over here. Let's see, I go to about here with this. All right. And let's just click it out and lay it kind of straight, like that. Probably okay. And then let's see if I come over here. That's not too bad. And click. Okay. Now I'm going to come over here to about that point, and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. See what I'm doing is I'm just basically recreating this thing with a line right down the middle. Come over here, and I'm going to click and hold and drag to get this thing to kind of wrap around about like that's pretty good. Okay, it's not great. I can see it's not perfect, but I actually had to play with this one when I did it too. So, you know, don't expect to get it entirely perfect the first go around. You might have to play with it a little bit. And the last time I did this, just so that you know, instead of having this outline like I got here,
Yeah.
I had a line very much like the line that I'm drawing, and I had to draw from that line. So it was different.
Wow.
I was doing it a little differently, but it still works out. So I come down like this, okay? And then I click over here, and I come to the end, and I give it a tiny bit of an end on that, like that. All right? And I kind of got this. Double click on it, and then I can come up here. And now if I hide this, let me select this. First of all, go to stroke, go to window, and go to stroke. There. And what I did was I see the butt cap is set off to a square off cap, butt cap.
Yeah.
All right, this is going to be a round cap. I made it a round
Okay.
cap. What that does is it gives me a round end, which gives me that look right there. See it?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is, just for the sake of demonstration, let me close this down and hide my layer and show you what we got. See? So I got this. There's a couple of spots I'd have to fool with, like there I'd have to play with that a little bit, and there I'd have to play with that a little bit. But basically, it's pretty close. This one I might play with too a little bit. I would do that at the end, all right? So then I just come back, and I would get my pen tool again, and I'd just come over here, and I'd click, and then I'd come over to about here, and I would click, and I would try to get that thing. Actually, let's go Control-Z, because I didn't place that very well. There we go. Let me click it and place it better. I can go right there in the middle. That's better. Right about here. Right about there. And then just line it up. There we go. Good. Click on it again. Then I'm going to move down to this one and click and center it like that. See? And then click. And then come over to the end here. And then just kind of get it so it's more or less in the center. And then double click on it to end it. And there you have that. Okay, and then the same thing with the Z. I just come over here very quickly, come over and click in the middle. And I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to try to, you know, do this thing perfect. I'm just going to try to get it until.
Just give it enough to show me what you did.
Yep, that's exactly right. And then I come here like this, and I just curve it ever so slightly because it's pretty much where I want it to be. This one's a wild one. This one I got to click on it, and I got to come way out to here. And I got to click this guy and have to find the way to lay it right down the middle of that. That's pretty good. That's not bad. Now again, I don't have to do this exactly perfect the way I did it before.
No.
Click on that, and then come all the way over to here. Okay, click all the way out to the end here. If I can get it where I want it, I guess that's where I want it. That's where it's going to let me go. And I'm going to find the way to get that thing to fall right about in the middle there. That's pretty good. Okay, and then I double click on that. And then there we go. Hide the original. And there I have my letters. And I select all of them. And I'm just going to make them black with no fill. There. See? That's what it looks like. Okay? And then what I would do is, you know, I'd come in here with my, I'd get my direct selection tool. I'd come in here and I would get my direct selection tool. And look at this one. Let's see if I could maybe adjust this a little bit, make it a little bit nicer. That's better. That's a little bit better. This one here, maybe I'd come down just a bit on. There we go. This one needs to go a little bit more too, more like this. Let me see. More like that, I think. Still a little bit short, right? A little bit rough right there. I have to come on back and get it. I have to figure out how to get that thing to curve the way I want it. Still not right. Well, I keep fooling with it until I ultimately get it. I don't want to waste forever to do it. Click on this guy here, okay, and then this would be the same thing. I could either bring this up a little bit and out. See, that fixes it. Or I could, you know, it might be maybe a little bit more like this. Let's see how we get. Let me get like that. And I'm not helping it. Edit, undo, move. And this one here. It's all right. It's not perfect, but you get the general idea. What you
I get the gist.
yeah. If I had a good bit of time with it, I'd play with it and get it perfectly right. Then what you would do with this thing is you basically just select it and come in here and go to your window appearance, open the appearance panel. And what I would start doing is I would start putting strokes on it. So what I would start off with is a white stroke. And I would maybe go 5 on the white stroke. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new stroke. Okay. And I have this new stroke down here, and that stroke's going to be black. Okay. And I'm going to start going 7, 8, 9, 10. See what it's doing?
Yeah.
Okay, but I probably need to go in here and make this stroke thicker. That's probably good. Now we'll go to 10, 11, 12. See? That's kind of what I did. Now, the problem that I have is both of these strokes still do not have the right caps on them. So let me see if I can come in here and let's get the right caps on these guys. Come on, open up you. There we go. I want the butt caps. There we go. And then this one here, let's go to the other one. And that's going to have a butt cap too. There we go. Okay, so you see how that's starting to get a little bit better?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's just 2 little ends here that I'd have to fix. But that's basically how I did this. That's to give you just generally the idea. I drew it, and then I just kept fooling around with these lines until I got them perfect. And that's where I came up with that jazz. All right.
Yep.
All right. So that's that. And we don't have much time left. So let me do one more thing. Let me get rid of this and save it. No. Let's go back to this. And let me quickly show you how to create a box. That would be, or you know what? You're going to be submitting me AI files, aren't you, on this?
Yep.
All right, so let me.
I usually do because that's what it says.
Yeah, let me do this. Let me grab these 2 symbols right here, and let's go edit copy. And let me go file new, and let me create a new one. Okay, and let's go edit paste. Come on, there we go. All right, and these guys are way too big, so let's go view, zoom out. All right, let's select both of these guys and let's delete them. There. Now, the only reason I did that is because if I come in here and select these guys, this is a new document, hit the garbage can, throw them away. All right, so now the only thing I got in here is my front, right? And my
your spine.
That's the only reason that I brought them in, is to do that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click to put one of these. Yeah, there we go. I don't want to do this. I'll drag it out. Drag this out, and I want to reduce the size of this thing. Let's drag this thing down smaller. Drag it down. Come on, you. Try it again. Come on. Got it? Boy, this thing is really stubborn. I got a better idea. Let me do this. Let me just get a shape. Yeah, here we go. Let me just get a rectangular shape. Let me just draw a rectangular shape. And then I'll reduce that. There, I got a rectangular shape. Good. And that's the size that I want right there. Perfect. Okay, let me move that out of the way. And let me delete this. All right, so now I got my size, but it's too big. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, holding down the shift key. I want to constrain the proportions on it. Shift down, make it about like that. There we go. And let's make the artboard a little bit bigger just so that we can get this thing going good. All right, bring it out like that, bring it out like that, and like that, and like that. All right? And yep. Whoops. Damn it. Hit the wrong thing. There we go. Drag this up. All right, now I don't have my colors in here, so let me grab the spine and let me sample the color for the background. There we go. And let me bring that color forward. And let me go to my swatches, and let's get rid of all of my swatch colors in here and delete them all. And then even this one, goodbye. And there's my blue. See my blue?
Yeah.
New color. And now I got my blue. Okay. And delete that. And let's go back. And now there's my object. I'm going to select it. And I'm going to remove the stroke. And I'm going to put the fill in it. But I'm going to put in my blue color. There. Okay. So this is the color. This is the color of my 3D object. What I'm going to show you how to do now in the last few minutes of today's class is how to take this and make it into a 3D object. I will do this again next Monday, but I wanted to show all you guys this so that you have this in your mind and you know what we're heading to. Okay. So,
makes sense.
Yeah. With this selected, go to the effect menu and go to 3D. There's revolve, which I showed you on the pen that I made, and the extrude and bevel. So here's the extrude and bevel. I'm going to move this over here, and I'm going to hit preview. And what you can see it doing is it's basically taking on the angle that it's off, the angle that it's on. I can rotate this around to give it different angles. I can do a lot of things to make this thing, you know, different as I wish to make it different. Create a more angular presentation of this thing, straighten it up a little bit, you know what I mean? I can keep playing with this. I can also come in here, off-axis front, off-axis back, off-axis left. See what I mean? I can do
Yeah.
This is a little extreme, so what I'm going to do is just going to bring it back by hand. See, what you have to keep in mind is that blue panel right there represents your front. So that's the one that you really want to keep aware of, is the one that that's showing the front surface. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now I want to extrude this out a little bit. I need to extrude it out approximately. That's way too much. That might be close. That might be pretty good. Let's make it 100. Let's just make it 100 and call it a day. Okay. So now I got it set to 100.
You got it set to 109.
Oh yeah, hit 100. I hit the wrong button. That's what it is. Okay, now I'm going to go map art. All right, and the map art immediately comes up as the front. It looks like.
Oh yeah, and then you put the symbol on the map art,
right.
which is what you taught us in packaging.
That's right, and then you're going.
And that's how we got the box in the 3D.
Absolutely. Now this is where it gets really dicey, because the program has to generate all that art in perspective on the front of this object. And it really gets tricky. See how long it's rendering this thing? It's going to take a few minutes to render.
Yeah.
And it's, but it'll get there and it'll look great ultimately. I'm going to want to give it not mess with it, let it do its thing. It'll eventually just pop through and it'll be done. It doesn't really advance very well. Hopefully you'll be okay with your artwork, because yours might not be as complex as what I did.
No, I don't think mine will be even close. No, I take that back. I might get in there and
have fun with it. That's the whole thing. That's what I keep saying. Have fun with it. I probably should have used the other one. Well, I guess that'd be just as hard. So eventually, when this thing gets done processing, I should be able to see my front. Now, what I may end up having to do is I may end up having to scale to fit, because it probably will ultimately be a little bit bigger than the surface, or smaller. We'll see when it gets rendered. There we go. There. Okay, so you see how it's much bigger? All I had to do is click scale to fit. Now, what's going to happen is it's going to render again. We have to sit here like a couple of dummies while this thing renders again.
Nah, I'm used to rendering stuff.
Yeah.
Because I play a lot in Bryce.
Yeah. But
Bryce takes forever to render.
Bryce is very cool though, because Bryce can give you really exquisite 3D rendering.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's cool.
I play with lots of art programs like Flossus and Photoshop and Bryce.
Great.
So it's finally got to the point where my dad, before he passed away, he told me, he says, look, go do something you love. Quit doing something you hate. Yeah.
Well, that's why I was saying to you, when you do these projects, pick, especially when they're not giving you very specific things to do. If they're forcing you to do a very specific thing, do your best with it. But when they give you sort of a leeway, a freedom, grab something that you really think you want to work on and try to do it, and do it to the absolute best of your abilities at the time. I mean, I wasn't always able to do everything that I can do now. As a matter of fact, there was a time when I was probably just like you, you know, starting out or in the earlier stages of the program. And even though I've been a graphic designer for years before this, it doesn't matter. I mean, what I know technically didn't apply anymore. This was a new world. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, you know,
Yeah.
going from being on planet Earth to going to Mars. You're in a completely different environment, you know, in here. So you have to relearn everything if you don't know it. So, you know,
Yeah.
feel bad, enjoy it, and make the best of it. Boy, this sucker's taking forever. Give it a minute.
Oh, I ain't worried.
Is there anything you want to ask me about what we covered tonight so far? Are we clear? Is everything okay?
I'm really clear on it,
Okay.
and it's nice to have actually been into a class to be able to get that clear.
Well, what's nice is having you here, because it creates a dialogue, and I can kind of get a sense of at least what you need and want. Whereas when no one is in the room, I'm just sort of doing things, and I don't know whether I'm doing relevant things or not. I mean, you have to realize that when there's nobody there, you get no feedback, and you're kind of
And it drives you nuts.
well, I really want to make sure that when students come into my class, wait a sec, there we go. Okay, so it's in there now, okay? So now what I'm going to do is, let's go to the next surface real quick. And there, okay, we're on the end. Let's go and see if we can just get this guy in there. And yeah, this is going to be murder. Okay, yeah, you know what? I need to fix this one. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, and I can't stop this, because if I stop this, the whole thing will die. You watch what I have to do. I'm going to have to undo this, and then what I'm going to have to do is open up that symbol, and I'm going to have to
rotate it.
Yes, I have to rotate it. You know the drill. And then once I rotate it, because if I try to rotate it in here,
oh no, that's messed up.
Yeah, it'll drive me nuts. So what I have to do is I have to accept the front. Got to get back out of this and accept the front, and then just rotate that symbol and come in and then place it on the side. I forgot all about that. And I did, when I built this other one, that's how I did it. And I just forgot.
Well, you're entitled to forget once in a while.
Of course. Running out of time.
Well, I have a couple extra minutes in case.
Okay.
Just saying.
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the symbol. Once this thing clears, I'm just going to go up and remove the symbol from the surface, hit OK. And that will give me just the front. And then I will go in and open up the symbol of the side and spin it. And then go back in real quickly and see if I can get it up, if I can get that up and on there. If not, you know, I did it here. See, there it is.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it. Oh, it's just being silly.
Yeah, well, that's because the artwork that I'm putting onto this is complicated, and it has to render all that stuff. What I probably should have done is I should have probably rasterized the whole thing. What I think I'm going to do later tonight is I'm going to go in and do this again, and I'm going to rasterize those pieces. You know what rasterizing means?
Yeah, you turn it into like a Photoshop and make it a bitmap to where it's pixel by pixel by pixel.
That's perfect. You're absolutely right. That's exactly what rasterizing is. I'm wondering if maybe if I rasterize them and make them in rastered symbols, it might go easier on us. So I'm going to check that out later on. That might be the way to go. So I'll let you know about that tomorrow night probably.
Okay.
You know, hopefully you'll come.
Well, as far as I know, I don't have anything on the schedule other than being in class.
Okay. Now, I quickly hit none and then hit OK. So let's see what happens with this. Even if it doesn't undo, I don't care. I'll rotate the symbol and go in and just readjust it, and it'll get there. That's all. But you get the general idea how to do this. And you said that you were in my class and did this already.
Yeah, we did that back when I was in package design with you.
Okay. I don't remember.
On my T-box.
Okay. And it all came out good?
Mm-hmm.
So you know what you're doing with this.
As a matter of fact, I went back and revisited for the portfolio class, my
Yeah.
T-box.
Uh-huh.
And when I showed it to the guy, he was like, "No, you need to do this." But yet, for my actual portfolio, I put yours in instead
Did
of
it
the
come out
redo.
any better with the way he had you do it? What was?
He had me do a celestial seasoning box instead of my own design.
Oh, well,
So I stuck with my design.
Yeah, I mean, you are creating it. If you like the way it came out,
Oh, I love the way it came out.
yeah,
So,
then you should stay with it. You should stay with it. I mean, that they don't want you. They don't necessarily want you to show them a celestial seasoning box. What they want to see is your own art. They want to see what your artwork is and how you work and how you think and visually. That's what it's really all about. Have you been putting stuff up on Behance?
Yeah, I have some stuff up there.
Okay, good.
Matter of fact, I have my Orca posters and stuff like that I've done. I'm going to be going through here in the future real soon and updating everything because I'm in the process. I've finally gotten my own domain.
Good.
And I got to talk to my son's father who runs a web host and get my own park my domain so I can put my portfolio online. And then I can go in and pick and choose whatever pieces I want, including my Photoshop stuff.
All right.
Which is pretty cool.
All right. Well, you know what? This is we're going to get stretched out beyond the shutdown time. So, and you know how to do this, and I intend to do this again. I as I told you, what I think I'm going to do later is I'm going to go in there and I'm going to rasterize. Well, here we go.
Well, one of the things I like is that you do repeat, but you're not repetitive.
Well, that's why I try to set up things. I try to set up things that, and see, I accidentally undid the whole thing. So, all right, well, I'm going to go back in both of these guys. So what I would do essentially is this. I would just simply come in here, and you probably did this too. I would just come in here and select this guy, and then I would come over here and I'd get the rotate tool.
Okay. Yeah, and rotate him.
Yeah, where are you? It's right here. The rotate tool, and I would hold down the shift key. I think I'll rotate it like that. Then I wrote, oh, look at that, I missed something. How'd that happen? Let's see if I get the whole thing. It should be a group. All right, now let's try it. So I rotate this guy and shift it so that it's straight. There we go. Okay, and that's it. That's it. Now you see it's changed. That should work. So I am going to end it with you tonight because you saw what I was doing, and I'll do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can turn these two pieces of art into, I'll raster them, object rasterize. I'll raster both of them. See if that helps any. Maybe that'll help. So anyway, we're good for today. I'm going to come in here and stop recording, and I will pick up tomorrow, and we'll do the critiquing, and we'll work more on this stuff. Okay?